brief snippet of a reflective and slightly melancholic piece from the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix soundtrack by Nicholas Hooper.
If you cherish the magic of literature, join our literary community by subscribing to this channel. We bring you the most captivating audio experiences. And to enrich your library even further, we have a special offer for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Audible and receive a free audiobook with your subscription.
Okay, so let's dive into this. You shared some really interesting stuff about the fifth Harry Potter film, Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, we've got a mix, haven't we? IMDb, details on release, cast, reception.
Right, and another source that gets more into the plot, the production, even some behind-the-scenes bits. It's quite a lot to sift through.
Definitely.
So our mission today, I guess, is to kind of navigate all this and pull out the bits that are maybe the most insightful or, even surprising.
And what really jumps out, I think, right away is how this film, adapting the longest book in the series, actually ended up as the second shortest movie.
That's wild, isn't it?
It really is. It just immediately begs the question, how on earth did they manage to boil down such a huge narrative and, still keep its essence?
Exactly. And the story itself, it just throws you right in. The core idea, like our sources say, is Harry warning everyone Voldemort's back, but the Ministry, they just shut him down.
Completely dismiss him, yeah.
Which leads to this power struggle at Hogwarts, especially with Dolores Umbridge showing up.
Ooh, don't even get me started on Umbridge.
The IMDb summary puts it pretty well. With his warning about the return of Lord Voldemort, Harry and Dumbledore are attacked by the authorities, while an authoritarian witch slowly takes power.
Authoritarian witch feels like maybe putting it mildly.
Yeah, just a bit.
But it's key, isn't it? Harry's not just fighting Voldemort. He's up against this wall of disbelief from the establishment. It feels quite relevant, actually.
How so?
Well, that whole anxiety about truth being denied by authority figures, it sort of mirrors things we see, in the real world. It makes the conflict deeper than just magic versus dark magic.
That's a great point. And thinking about the book, almost 900 pages, I saw this user review on IMDb.
Oh, yeah. What did it say?
They basically said it seemed impossible to adapt, but they were surprised it was well accomplished by astute summation of plot and concentration of action. High praise, considering.
That is high praise, because adapting something that dense, wow. There are always trade-offs, right?
Right.
You lose some detail to keep the pace moving for a film. Another user mentioned that, actually. It said quite a bit of detail was lost.
But they understood why, right?
Yeah, they acknowledge how hard it is to capture, what Rowling takes hundreds of pages to explain. You can't fit all that into, 2-3 hours?
And this one was even shorter, just 138 minutes. Only Deathly Hallows, Part 2, is shorter.
Which is it's fascinating. Longest book, nearly the shortest film. It really emphasizes the editing, the choices they had to make.
So that compression probably shapes which themes really come through strongly.
I think so. And that connects to some of the deeper meanings people found. Like one reviewer on IMDb said something like, Harry's world is the real world.
Interesting. What do they mean by that?
Well, how the lines blur between the magic and just the harshness of the adult world. It gets less fantastical, maybe, and more real.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like the magic becomes a way to look at real problems.
Yeah.
That reviewer also mentioned the Order's headquarters, Grimmauld Place.
Oh, appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, hidden from muggles.
Yeah.
They saw it as a metaphor for, our hidden inner lives, how we cope with things privately.
That's quite profound, actually. Fantasy reflecting reality, helping us process it. It's what good fantasy does, isn't it?
Totally. And speaking of processing things, there's that quote from Sirius to Harry.
Oh, the light and dark one.
Yeah. You're not a bad person. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on.
Such a powerful line.
It really speaks to that moral complexity, even for these younger characters. It's not just black and white.
Absolutely.
Right.
Which makes Umbridge even more jarring because she feels so one-dimensionally awful.
Right. The Ministry stooge, the new teacher who bans practical magic in defense against the dark arts of all classes.
Right.
And those horrible punishments. The Quill.
Ugh, the Quill. She's just this perfect storm of bureaucratic evil wrapped in pink. That IMDb description someone gave. Pink and fluffy on the outside, crunchy and evil on the inside.
That nails it.
It really does. And she represents that kind of insidious authoritarianism, smiling while suppressing the truth.
And her actions directly cause the students to push back, right? Forming Dumbledore's army.
Right.
Because she won't let them learn actual defense.
Exactly. And she sets up her own little goon squad, the Inquisitorial Brigade.
Which just makes the students more determined. It shows that collective action, even among kids, against that kind of oppression.
A really important theme.
And then things really start moving fast. Harry has that vision of Mr. Weasley being attacked by Nagini.
Which highlights that creepy connection he has with Voldemort. It's getting stronger.
Yeah, and then the occlumency lessons with Snape. Awkward doesn't even begin to cover it.
So tense. And revealing, too. About Harry's dad, especially. But crucial for Harry needing to shield his mind.
And then, boom, mass breakout from Azkaban. Bellatrix Lestrange is out.
Which the Ministry still tries to downplay, amplifying the danger.
Until Umbridge finds Dumbledore's army. Dumbledore takes the fall, makes his dramatic exit.
Classic Dumbledore.
But we do get that amazing moment. Fred and George's fiery escape during the OWLS.
Oh, brilliant. Such a great moment of pure defiance. A bit of light in the darkness.
Much needed light. Because then comes the really dark turn, Harry's vision of Sirius being tortured.
At the Ministry, yeah.
And Umbridge tries to stop him, tries Veritaserum, but Snape's like, nope, you used it all. Clever Snape.
Ah, yeah. So Harry and the others, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Neville, Luna, they go off on this rescue mission.
Which turns out to be a trap. It shows Harry's loyalty, though, how much Sirius means to him.
Definitely. That chosen family theme is so strong there.
So they get to the Department of Mysteries, the Hall of Prophecies. The prophecy gets revealed.
Yeah.
And then smashed.
Chaos ensues. Death Eaters show up, Bellatrix.
It's intense. Then the Order arrives, Dumbledore's army, fighting alongside them.
But then, the tragedy. Sirius.
Bellatrix hits him with the killing curse. He falls through the veil. It's brutal.
Absolutely devastating. And Harry's reaction, the grief, the rage, it's raw.
It's a huge turning point for him, losing Sirius like that.
A massive loss really drives home the stakes.
But even then, when Voldemort himself appears, tries to get Harry to kill Bellatrix, Harry resists.
Which is so important he doesn't give in to that darkness.
And then we get the big duel. Dumbledore versus Voldemort, right there in the Ministry atrium.
With Fudge watching.
Exactly. The moment of truth. Fudge has to see it. He can't deny it anymore.
That confrontation changes everything. The Ministry has to finally publicly admit Voldemort is back.
Right. And after that, Dumbledore explains the prophecy to Harry, fills him in.
Which is a huge weight off Dumbledore's shoulders, I imagine, but a massive burden for Harry.
True. Dumbledore's reinstated. Fudge is facing calls to resign.
And Umbridge gets carted off, hopefully having a bad time with the Centaurs.
We can hope. And the Daily Prophet finally prints the truth. The denial's over.
The wizarding world has to face reality now.
So, shifting gears a bit to the making of the film. David Yates took over as director here, didn't he?
He did, yeah, from Mike Newell. And Michael Goldenberg wrote the screenplay instead of Steve Kloves for this one.
It's always interesting when the creative team changes. Yates definitely brought a different feel, maybe a bit darker, grittier.
I'd agree with that. Visually, it felt a bit more subdued, which suited the tone of the book, I think.
And they filmed mostly in the UK, built huge sets at Leavesden Studios.
Helps ground it, doesn't it? Makes the magic feel almost tangible.
That Ministry atrium set inspired by the tube stations, over 200 feet long. The scale is just incredible.
And the detail. Like the Black family tapestry, apparently J.K. Rowling helped design that.
Wow. And the effects, obviously. Creating grop, using that soul-capturing tech.
Yeah, capturing the actor's expressions for a CGI character like that. Pretty amazing stuff.
And it was released in IMAX 3D, too, some sequences. But that was intense.
Must have been.
On a lighter note, apparently the kiss scene between Harry and Cho took, like, 30 takes.
See? Teenage awkwardness transcends magic.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, and the wand fighting styles.
Yeah.
Having a choreographer figure out unique styles for characters.
Like Lucius Malfoy being more formal, like fencing, and Sirius being more like a street fighter.
Yeah. Little details like that really add depth.
They do. Shows real care. Though there was that controversy about the poster, wasn't there? Emma Watson's image being altered.
Yeah, I remember that. A reminder of the crazy pressure those actors were under.
For sure.
And the music.
Nicholas
Hooper took over. A bit darker, maybe less grand than John Williams.
Yeah, a different feel. But he kept Hedwig's theme, which was crucial, that musical link.
Definitely. And the film came out July 2007. Massive success, obviously. Made over $1 billion worldwide, didn't it?
It did indeed. Huge numbers.
So, wrapping all this up, What does it mean for someone looking back at this film and its sources?
Well, I think it really spotlights, the challenges of adaptation, how storytelling can reflect real-world issues, and those core themes, good versus evil, truth, friendship. They just endure, don't they?
They really do.
All those creative choices, condensing the plot, the visuals, the music, they all shape how we experience that story on screen.
Okay, but here's what I find really fascinating.
Yeah.
Thinking about that adaptation process. The longest book.
And all the cuts they had to make.
Exactly. Knowing there was something like 40 minutes of footage cut, some ended up on the DVD.
Right.
It makes you wonder, what else was there? What character beats or plot points didn't make it? It really highlights how incredibly dense Rowling's book is and how many ways you could interpret or present that story.
That's a great point. And it leads to a question, I guess, for anyone listening. Does knowing about those adaptation challenges, the cuts, the changes needed for film, does that change how you appreciate the book and the movie?
Yeah.
Does knowing what was left out affect how you see what actually made it in?
Definitely something to chew on. Well, thanks for digging into Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix with us.
It's been great fun.
We really hope this deep dive gave everyone maybe a fresh angle on this really key part of the whole Wizarding World story.